or high. Delft, the city and community in the Netherlands, in the province de Southern Holland, halfway between Rotterdam and The Hague. It is located on the River Schie. The population on estate May December 2017 102,280 people. The historic center of the city remained generally since the 17th century. In the 19th century, Delft significantly extended and gained industrial character. Delft was William of Orange's residence and de facto the first capital of the Netherlands. Prince Oranje was killed here in 1584, and since then traditionally dicks of the Netherlands royal family are buried in New Church of Delft. Now is one of the main centers of development of high technologies in the Netherlands. It is promoted mainly existence in the city of the Delft University of Technology and branch of the Netherlands Organization of Applied Scientific Research. The community. Delft borders on communities Rijswijk in the north, Midden-Delfland, the former Schipluiden. In the west, Rotterdam and Schiedam in the south, and Pijnackernotdorp in the east. Delft together with Rijswijk is included into agglomeration of The Hague. From the center of Delft through Rijswijk it is possible to get to the center of The Hague, without leaving urban development. From Schiedam and Rotterdam, Delft is separated by a polder. Through the city in the direction from the north on the south past the railway line Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Brussels, to the east of its quay, and across east outskirts of the city, the highway Hague, Rotterdam. The historic center is between the railway line and Schie, a campus of the Technical University, to the south from the center, and new areas, to the west of the railway line. Through Schie within Delft 8 bridges, 3 of which are closed for car traffic, are thrown. As almost in any Netherlands city, in Delft hundreds of channels are dug, at the same time only Schie, and for small vessels also channels in the historic center and the channel connecting Delft and Maassluis are navigable. Foundation of the city is carried to 1075. Delft developed in the so-called water city, with the system of channels over time. The name of the city comes from a word. Delft artificially dug ditch, the channel. The most ancient mention of the local channel in a written source is dated 1165. It is supposed that from his name, Delft, probably, and there is a toponym of the city which arose in this area. Presumably in the 11th century there was a settlement which quickly turned into the considerable center of trade here. On April 15, 1246, columns of Holland and Zeeland, the King of Germany Wilhelm II appropriated to Delft the rights of the city, thereby having made it one of the first cities of Holland which received such privileges. Delft at this time settled down along modern Old Channel. Oud Delft, presumably dug about 1100. In the 13th century the dam protecting the district of Delft from floods from Maas was constructed, and in the 14th century the channel River Schie, which connected Delft to Maas and the North Sea and significantly strengthened trade position of the city, is dug. About the 1300th year, the old city, with the lock of Counts Dutch and also canals Oud Delft and Nieuw Delft. New Delft was surrounded with a wall. In the 19th century it is replaced with the channel. In the place of merge of Schie and Maas, the settlement dependent on Delft, Delfshaven. The Delft Harbour, which now is a part of Rotterdam, was founded. Oil, fabrics, carpets and beer were the main goods at this time. On May 3, 1536 there was a catastrophic fire which destroyed the most part of the city. In 1584 William Ouransky, who during short time was in the residence in St. Agata's monastery, nowadays Prinsenhof, was killed and buried in New Church of Delft. In the 17th century, the golden age of the Netherlands, Delft endured the new blossoming connected with growth of sea trade. In the city there was one of 6 offices of the Dutch East Indian Company, and Delft became the center of production traditional white blue, Delft blue, Delftsblauw, ceramics, Delft porcelain. In Delft there were tens of factories on production of ceramics constructed on the place of breweries. However, in 1654 there was an explosion of powder warehouses which again destroyed the city and which led to the numerous victims. After explosion the city was built up, and an essential part of his center remains until present in uniform architectural style. In the second half of the 17th century in Delft there was an art school to which such famous artists as January Vermeer, Peter de Hock, Cornelis de Mang and Karel Fabritius, who died at explosion of powder warehouses, belonged in particular. After War of 1672 decline of the city, which concedes the leading position in the region to neighbors, The Hague and Rotterdam, began. The trade value of Delft significantly decreased. In the second half of the 19th century Delft turned into an industrially developed city. In 1847 railway communication with Rotterdam and The Hague was open. In Delft the Royal Barmy and Spirit Factory was open. Koninklijke Nederlandse Gist en Spiritusfabriek, for the first time in the world, begun to produce yeast on new technology. A factory, for the first time in the Netherlands, the settlement with the houses which are specially built for accommodation of workers of factory was created. Agnetepark. In 1842 the Royal Academy was opened for training of civil engineers, nowadays the Delft University of Technology. In 1932 in Delft the Netherlands Organization of Applied Scientific Research opened. And still in the city the office of one of her branches is located. In the first half of the 20th century Delft was beyond limited being, by then too sorted. A city wall, having included areas Hof van Delft and Vrijenben to the north of the center. In the 1960th years Delft included the areas of Pottekhof and Voorkhof, which are still belonging to the most densely populated urban areas of Western Europe. In the 1980th years to the south of the center the region of Tandkhof with low building, traditional for the Netherlands, was built. Since the 16th century Delft was the largest center for production of ceramics. It was connected with the fact that masters of Delft learned to create the ceramic crock externally similar to porcelain and at the same time thin. In workshops of the city copied the Chinese and Japanese cobalt porcelain products in Louis XIV's style. The coat of arms of Delft consists of a silver board with a vertical black strip which is often represented with wavy border. The strip designates the channel. The coat of arms was approved as official in 1816. The flag of the city consists of 3 horizontal strips, 2 external white and internal black. The flag is officially approved only in 1996, but was used for hundreds of years before, in particular, on flags of the Delft ships of the East Indian Company. In 1587 the population of Delft made 14,000 people. By 1680 this value fell to a mark about 9,000 a man. After that, during the period from 1680 to 1735 it rose up to 24,000 and after that again began to decline, having reached value about 15,000 a man. Such differences in number of the population were caused by periodic outflow in the city located nearby, Rotterdam. In 2010, according to data of Statistics Netherlands, the population of Delft made minus 96,800 man. From this period to 2017, dynamics of growth of the population grew up, having never shown negative value. For 2017, Delft, according to Central Bureau voor de Statistiek, makes population 102,280 people. Density minus 4,443.95 people/km. Transport. Delft is connected by highways with other cities of the Netherlands. On its east outskirts runs Road De Hague, Rotterdam, along the western outskirts, a beginning in Amsterdam and a leader to Rotterdam. Roads are connected by the National Highway and crossing the city in the southern part and dividing the areas of Tandkopf, Voorkopf and Buitenkopf. Through the city the main railroad Amsterdam, Rotterdam, Brussels runs. On it there are 2 stopping points: Delft Station and Delft Campus Platform. Delft Campus, being called prior to the beginning of 2020 Delft South. Delft Zuid. Delft is connected by through railway communication with Amsterdam, The Hague, Rotterdam, Dordrecht and Eindhoven, with the first 3 round the clock. On the platform Delft Campus only local trains stop, at night it doesn't function. A part of a railway track passes on a tunnel. Land transport is presented more than 10 routes of buses, both local, and connecting Delft with The Hague, Rotterdam and other cities. Buses are operated by the Connexion Company, routes have uniform numbering across all southern Holland. Besides, Delft is connected by the tram message with suburbs of The Hague, Scheveningen, a route, and Leid-Sendemem, a route 19, which is operated by the Hague Transport Society, Tibeten. Sites. Old part of Delft represents the image of the water city, also today that is promoted by numerous network of channels. The New Church, 1351-1496. Executed in Gothic style in which tombs of dicks of the Oransky dynasty and, for example, the famous lawyer Gugo Grosjean are located remained. Also, in the city Prinsenkopf, the former monastery of Saint Agatha, William of Orange's residence, nowadays the museum settles down. The city is well known for production of porcelain. These products are recognized around the world in the blue-white color. Thanks to it the city sometimes called Dutch faints, by analogy with the Italian city that it is called in honor of porcelain. Production of porcelain is old trade in the city and, according to mentions, in the 17th century 30 factories worked here. Emergence of porcelain trade is connected with resettlement of the Italian masters and belongs to the 16th century. Old Church, 1246. The oldest church of Delft. Now it is used as the museum. In her many famous residents, in particular, January Vermeer and Antonie van Leeuwenhoek are buried. The tilted tower bell tower of church is one of the most important tourist attractions of the city. In the 19th century she was intended to be borne, but decided to be left, and behind her careful technical supervision is carried up. St. Hippolyt's Chapel. About 1400. East Gate. The only remained gate of the former city wall. About 1400. The town hall is constructed in 1618-1620 on the market square in style of the Netherlands Renaissance. Includes a tower of the former prison. About 1400. Remained after the fire of 1536, the oldest remained building of the city. State Museum of Weapon. The decision on his transfer to Soesterberg in 2012 is made. Royal Factory of Porcelain. One of the few remained in the city. Grave of Karl Wilhelm Naundorff, the impostor giving himself for the French King Louis XVII. It is located at not used cemetery near the building of Royal Barmy and Spirit Factory long ago. Famous natives. Yainsius Anthony. Vermeer Yang. Leeuwenhoek Antonie. Toussaint de Guillemot. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.